Hey everybody, what's going on? Your host AMF1534 here. Welcome to Let's Play San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing. And happy Halloween, by the way, even though I'm pretty sure this game has absolutely nothing to do with the awesomeness of Halloween. Or does it? When you think about horror movies in general, more often than not there's usually a car in there somewhere. Not in the facet of racing, but you think, I mean, somewhere in there there's always the car where everybody has the opportunity to escape in the car, but they don't, and so they end up going through complete and total hell trying to get away from the crazy dude with the chainsaw, or the crazy hands, or the ghost, or the demon, or whatever it is. And then they either defeat him and they all go strolling off into the sunset in the car they finally found the keys for miraculously, or maybe not, maybe they just all get completely murdered and destroyed and then they end up losing anyways. So, the car is there, but again, it has minimal amounts of things to do with Halloween. So, with that aside, you know, more than anything else, I just love this game. I love it so much. This is the very first racing game that I ever owned on the Nintendo 64. It came out when I was 8 years old, and so I'd had a little bit of time to play it in the arcades before I got it for my birthday. In 1997, so it was, man, it's awesome. I will give you fair warning right now, there's a reason why I turned the music volume down a little bit, because I will warn you that this game has maybe one of the most obnoxious soundtracks of all time. I'm not kidding. I love this game with my entire heart, like a relationship with a woman, but I'm telling you, this game has some crazy, completely insane music. So we'll get to that later. So, what we're going to be doing over the course of this Let's Play is we're going to do a circuit, which circuit consists of, I believe, 28 races. They're not terribly long. There's 6 different tracks in which you play on, but you play it on in a couple of different ways. You'll play each of these tracks in just regular, the regular way. You'll do it mirrored. You'll do it backwards and mirrored. So it's 24 races actually, and you have to do each race in a different way 4 times. It's fucking crazy. So let's do one that's a little bit easier. I'm not trying to sit here and stress over the damn thing. There's one thing you gotta be really careful with though. You only get to choose your car once, which is one thing that I hate about this, because there are other cars that would be better suited for parts of this. I love that guy. It's dangerous! Don't fucking drive this car! It's a stupid idea! That's what he's trying to tell me. Go with I'm gonna go with the coupe. I love the coupe. It's my favorite one in the game. I just like the way that it looks in general, and it handles well. I only drive in manual. I hate driving in automatic in most games besides like Cruis'n USA, because that game is complete chaos and it's really hard to concentrate without it. But with this one, I'm down. So we're gonna do it. Let's get going. So, it's straightforward. I mean, you go through the track and, you know, you got 3 laps to win, and you got a bunch of other drone cars, and they're total pieces of shit. But, if all goes according to plan, everything's fine, and for whatever reason, we're driving around, and there is just an incredible amount of fog everywhere, in almost every single track that we're on. When you think about it, we are in Frisco, and Frisco's by the bay, and by the bay means lots of fog. So, you're going to learn a lot of things over the course of this game, i.e. where a lot of shortcuts are. I mean, I've been playing this game for an extremely gross amount of time, and so I know where just about all of them are. And so for one reason or another, I'm going to exploit a lot of them, because it's fun. And that's kind of what this game is really designed for. Like, of course, if you want to drive, you know, normally on the track, you can totally do that. But this game is all about trying to find the fun things. Just, you know, find a shortcut, you can exploit it. There are certain ones that are available only in the backwards orientation, so... Oh god, we're going really fast. However, though, the shortcut that's backwards in this level, I don't advise doing it, but we're probably going to do it anyways, just because it's hilarious watching me trying to get through it. So, one of my more profound experiences with this game, I actually won a tournament in this game when I was about, let's see, I was in the 3rd grade, so that would have been, oh boy, somewhere in like the 1995-6 area. I don't know, I'm terrible with things a lot of the time. But we were on a cruise to Mexico, and it was, oh no! Yep, that's why that doesn't work very often, but we'll do it anyways. This is gonna be very sloppy. But some people love to have their sloppy joes extra sloppy, or their driving skills, but hey! Alright, so it actually worked out really well. Most of the shortcuts we're going to be pulling off are going to be in the first few races here, because this game gets significantly harder very quickly. But hey, it worked. And normally that does not work very well. When I drive into the wall like that, most of the time my car blows up, so whatever. So on this cruise ship, this was the only tournament they did the whole time, because it was the only racing game that was there in the little arcade that they had. But we there was a formal dinner that they did, and right after that they were holding the tournament. And so, you know, here I am, a little third grade kid, strolling into this tournament, still wearing like my dress shoes and like a fucking like this whole suit and get up and whatever. This is the whole elegant thing. And you know, you got like all these other people. You got people in their 20s and people in their 30s and 40s, because everybody thinks they're the best driver in the world. And so they have everybody, like the race that everybody was doing was this one, because it's the beginner track and it's easy enough and whatever. And so they'd match up however many people were in it. I think it was like 8 or something like that. And, you know, you get the same car so that nobody gets an advantage and blah blah blah. Whoever wins moves on. The other person loses, and so on and so forth. And so there were a couple people that, you know, they looked pretty good. I mean, they didn't know any of the shortcuts, but they did all right. And, you know, me, I jump into this thing and I end up cruising through just fine because I know where everything is already. And so it gets to the finals. It gets to the finals, and there's the guy that was in the finals with me. He was in his 30s, and he was just one of those prototypical douchebag guys that was just like, oh, you ready for this, kid? I'm gonna kick your butt. 'Cause he wasn't just gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna kick your fucking ass, because he wasn't like that much of a douche, but he was still being douchey against a kid of my age. He's like, you ready to get your butt kicked? And I was like, we'll see about that. And he's like, oh, you think you're gonna beat me now, huh? I was like, I know I will. He's like, oh, we got a regular confident one here. I was like, okay, we'll play. And so we end up doing track 1, the same one that I just did. And we both picked the same car, but I picked manual. And he's like, oh, so you know how to drive stick now all of a sudden? I was like, it's like, it's just a video game. Like, I was like, you don't have to drive it like a real car. It's a little bit different. He's like, oh, okay, whatever. And so we get going, and everything's fine. You know, he's kind of hanging with me, and then I start throwing shortcuts into it, because they didn't say anything about whether you could do that or not. They just said you can't use different cars to give yourself an advantage in that way. But oh, here's a weird shortcut up here, by the way. I never do this when I play it in the arcade, because it's almost impossible to pull off, like, regularly without totally screwing it up. Oh god, okay, we're good. Yeah, and so we're going, and all of a sudden I start throwing some shortcuts in there, and he's like, wait a minute. He's like, you do know what you're doing. How did you do that? And I was like, I've been playing this game for about 5 years now, so, or however many amounts of years it was. And he just, all of a sudden, because he had a whole bunch of his cronies there, and, you know, they were kind of all jawing and just having a good time or whatever, thinking that, you know, their boy was gonna, you know, go and cakewalk through the tournament, and, you know, they could have something to laugh about while they were slamming beers at the bar later. Meanwhile, here I am, this little 9-year-old kid, taking his shoes off to drive because I couldn't feel the pedal very well in my huge-ass dress shoes, and I totally destroyed him. And he just was so red in the face, and it was so funny, and I had no remorse for it at all, and I was like, well, I beat you. See you later. And he was just like, oh. So that was my hilarious experience with this game, and I got a cool little trophy, and I actually still have it in my room. It says I think it says like tournament winner, and it has like it's like a little plastic trophy with the cruise boat that we were on, and that was the end of it, and I totally won, and it was awesome. And then the very next morning I got seasick and I threw up in an ashtray. And it was disgusting. I threw up all over a bunch of cigarette butts, and just the smell of that almost made me vomit again, and it was nasty. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I loved that, and it was just a game that I've always found myself coming back to it and playing it more, just because of the fact that it's it's not like it's not a game that's completely outrageous like Cruis'n USA, where like absolutely nothing that's going on has any sense of realism in any way. Not saying that this game has a whole load of realism either, but I mean, A, your car can actually take damage, so that's a step in the right direction. Your car isn't going a bajillion miles an hour and you're doing like flips off of cars because you're slamming on the gas a couple of times and all these things. So at least there's like at least some physics that makes sense in here. And just overall, like, it's a lot of fun. Like, all the tracks are different, very different actually, and they have, you know, there's the shortcuts thing gives it a lot of, you know, replayability in here. There's a lot of hidden things to find, which we'll be getting into that a little bit later with the bonus key system that's in here. So we'll deal with that at a different time. And I don't know, it's an experience. It's fun, and like even the Nintendo 64 port, which is not necessarily anywhere near as good as the arcade one, it's still fun. I love the barcade that I go to all the time downtown. They have the Alcatraz edition of this, which is probably, oh boy, that's a tough one to say. It's probably my second favorite Rush cabinet, because it's better than just the original one of these, because it has the extra track in it already available. But my favorite one definitely is still Rush 2049. That without any sort of anything is totally the one. But this one's fun. I mean, I kind of grew up playing this one, and so it's good stuff. Oh god, I remember they used to have this game at a different arcade when I was growing up too. It was in one of the shopping malls. And another place that actually the very first place I ever played this game, now that I think about it, was, of all places, right across in the mall that my store was in when I was growing up, when I was younger, and my grandparents were running it. It was a seafood restaurant. It was a McGrath's, actually. I don't know if that's a national chain or not, but there's like a whole bunch of them here in Oregon. There was a McGrath's that was right across. It was right across the hallway from where my store was, and so we used to go over there all the time because they'd always have like business meetings and stuff over there, and it was the only arcade game there. It was right in the entrance when you went in, and so, you know, they'd go conduct their business and, you know, talking with people and setting up contracts for buying shit, and, you know, I'd get a couple bucks and I'd go over here and I'd just, you know, play the absolute hell out of this game, just trying to get better at it. And they had it set up too where if you won the race against the computer, you got a free game, and so you better believe I got all the free games out of this shit. So I just I played it a whole bunch, and I'd have tournaments with my dad and my brother, which I'd beat him just about every time. The first time I lost to my dad, I actually had like I totally like broke down. Like, I was so mad, like mad to the, like, it wasn't like I was like so mad it like drove me to tears, but not like the really bitchy, pouty version. I was just like, because the reason why I lost, I just kept doing so many stupid things that just totally ruined it for me. And I talked up a huge game to my dad. I was like totally gloating the whole time, and I was just like fuming so bad. It was like blood pressure raising heart attack city, and I just like totally started like getting the rage tears going on. And he was like, boy, you need to chill. And it was wild. But yeah, long story short, or even shorter story short, this game is awesome. It's part of my favorite series of game, period. And I love it. I love it. And we're having a good time right now. So here's what we're gonna try to do. Hey, don't pull off this succession of things very often, but we'll try it. So we're gonna go up and through Chinatown up here. We're gonna go right up in here and see what we can do. There's one little shortcut that I never have an easy time doing because it just doesn't work most of the time. Oh god! Alright, well that automatically didn't work. Yeah, this is definitely the hardest track in the game by a long shot. It's a lot longer than the other ones, so it's just a pain in the dick, man. It just is. So you have to be on your toes here. There's so many weird turns in here and just random drop-offs like this. Like, I can't imagine that the streets of San Francisco are a whole lot like this. Oh no. Oh god. Oh no, we might lose! lose. No, we're not. We're good. I take that back. We're fine. Thought we were going to lose for a minute, but we are good. Good stuff. That was good. But yeah, there are just there are some weird things that go on in this game. Wow, those were almost completely identical laps. That's pretty wild. Good shit. Alright, my friends, well, we have run out of time for this first episode here, but when we come back on the next installment of Let's Play San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing, we're just going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. This is going to be a very casual Let's Play. Whenever I do driving games, I try to take some of the pressure off of myself by just kind of rambling about stuff, so we'll probably do a lot of that. I'll give you some you know, pro tips and pointers while we're playing, but we're just going to have some fun with this one. So, until then, my friends, this has been your host, AMF 15 to the 34, saying thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye. Happy Halloween in a game that doesn't really coincide with that at all. Bye.